This is my first video for a few weeks, and I thought I'd just take the opportunity to record on now because this morning I had the enormous pleasure of attending the mass vaccination centre at the Angel Centre in Tonbridge. Now, I don't know how many of you have been to have your jab yet, but if you get the chance, I have to say the way they're running it in the Angel Centre is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, I know they're doing a fantastic job at the Baptist Church too, so please don't let me know that one's better than the other. I know they're both brilliant, but wow, the team at the Angel Centre are absolutely amazing. And all I can say is every volunteer, every NHS staffer, everybody who's there is doing an amazing job, and for which I am just unbelievably grateful. They are inspirational, really inspirational. Now, I'll speak more about how the Angel Centre is working later, but one of the reasons we haven't had a video as often is because we've just come out of a couple of weeks dip in supply. So until this week, there haven't been that many changes. Now, as I mentioned in my previous video, this was entirely predictable. So please, again, don't worry about it too much. It was exactly what we expected because the machines need to be retuned to increase output. Now, the nature of how vaccines are produced means that throughout this program, we will actually see supplies going up and down a bit. That is, I'm afraid, absolutely normal. And what normally happens, of course, is that vaccines are predicted for a long, long time out, so you don't notice it. But because we're all using vaccines as fast as they can be produced, this time, unusually, we are seeing the up and down that is the pharmaceutical industry. So there we go. Now, there'll be a few more days when it will be more readily available and days when it will not be quite so available. So please just keep an eye on what's going on in our community and don't worry too much. We are already hugely through the groups 1 to 9 that the Joint Committee on Vaccinations has said are the priority groups because they account for more than 99% of deaths from COVID. So those are all going to be done. And then I'm afraid it's people like me who are under 50 who are going to be asked to wait just a little bit. And I think that's absolutely fine. So I'm looking forward to getting my vaccine done as soon as it can be. But I do understand, as I'm sure everybody else does, that although the NHS has done brilliantly and although the pharma companies have done brilliantly, sometimes you just have to wait. Now, obviously, the news over the past 24 hours has gone to great detail about this process, so don't listen to all of it. It's not off course, I'm afraid. It is just slightly the nature of these things, and I hope that the narrative comes back to being a bit more positive and welcoming the extraordinary achievements that we've had, because it's worth noting that in April we will have more vaccines available than we did in February. And second doses will continue exactly as before. So as we see the ebbs and flows, please look out for your appointment. If you are due to have your second vaccine, please do make sure you have it. It really is important. Now, it's also been somewhat disappointing to see the way that this has been discussed in the European Union. I have to say, Ursula von der Leyen has been not altogether helpful at various different points, but more importantly, some of the different heads of state and government have not been very helpful, criticising the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. But just before you think that everybody is of one mind and being condemnatory, worth remembering that Jean Castex, the Prime Minister of France, this afternoon posted on Twitter, there you go, that he had been vaccinated. And which dose did he have? That's right, he had the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. So clearly, he recognises what the European Medical Agency have said, what the British medical community have said, and that is a good vaccine and absolutely safe. So I have to say, not only has he had it, by the way, several friends of mine who are members of Parliament have had it. They're older than me, so they get in the line first. And I can tell you for an absolute fact, I will have whichever vaccine I am offered. My parents, by the way, had Oxford AstraZeneca, but there you go. It has been fully approved. And as I say, if you get the chance, get whichever one's going. Now, talking of people being offered the vaccine, if you are over 50, everybody now over 50 can have a vaccine. So please go online, book your appointment, and there are appointments available at the Angel Centre in Tonbridge, the Community Pharmacy Hub in East Peckham, and of course at the GP rollout centres in Avicenna Medical Centre in Leybourne, Sevenoaks Medical Practice for patients registered with Borough Green and Edenbridge surgeries, and of course Tonbridge Baptist Church. There are plenty of slots and there is plenty of vaccine supply over the next week. So if you're eligible, I'll get that word right, if you're eligible, please do make the most of it. Now this also applies, of course, if you are clinically extremely vulnerable or a frontline health or social care worker. Now, NHS England will not move on to the next stage of the process, which is anyone aged between 18 and 49. I'm at the top end of that limit, but, still me, until they are sure that every single person in priority groups 1 to 9 has been vaccinated. So please, 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 please do check with anyone you know and make sure that they have received their first dose, so that those of us who are under 49 will not have to wait when this has been done. Now, I saw this morning at the Angel Centre that the process is really inspirationally slick. It really is brilliant. I've spoken in previous videos about how the process works at our GP hubs, and I hope to visit the East Peckham site too. So I'm just going to focus briefly on Tonbridge here. If you can, park on the side furthest from Tonbridge High Street, and the entrance is actually through a fire entrance, or fire exit rather, just near the entrance to the creche. You then queue, socially distanced of course, and are checked in by volunteers who ask for your NHS number, and then you go and receive your vaccine. Now, you then go to a table where your details are validated and you'll be asked about underlying medical conditions and any other relevant information. After this, you then go for the jab. And you leave through another fire exit, which brings you out next to the former Beals building that I'm sure many people know, right next to Sainsbury's. This process should take no more than about 10-15 minutes, depending on how busy it is and whether there are any complications. And we've been told, and I was told very clearly this morning, please do not drive for 15 minutes after your jab, and so that everybody can have a brief walk if the weather's nice. The River Medway is just nearby. It was very high this morning, actually, when I went to see, and you can explore some of Tonbridge or go shopping if you've travelled far. Not much shopping available, of course, at the moment, but Sainsbury's is open. I was joined this morning by the chair of and chief executive of Kent Community Health NHS Foundation Trust, which was great. And I managed to thank as many of those working as I could. I didn't want to get in the way, of course, because plenty of people were being vaccinated. So I was slightly on the edge of things. So if you received your dose between 11 and 12 this morning, I hope I wasn't too disruptive. And the BBC South East team today who were there, well, I hope they didn't get in the way too much either. They were interviewing about what was going on. And I'm very, very glad that they're raising awareness for such an important site. Now, in total, 25,000 doses have been administered at the Angel Centre in the past month. Now, that is phenomenal. Guess what? Another 2,000 today. So when Tonbridge and Morning Borough Council and I teamed up to promote the Angel Centre to health officials, looks like we were right. We knew it would be the right place to deliver vaccines in their thousands. And all I can say is thank you. Thank you to everybody who has made it possible. You've really delivered for our community. You've delivered for our town, and you've delivered for our country. So what happens next? Well, of course, we're going to keep on inoculating more vaccines, more arms. We know there will be ebbs and flows in supplies, so please don't worry if appointments don't get released as quickly as you'd like, or if the Angel Centre closes again as it did for a couple of weeks ago for a few days. It isn't anything to worry about. But if you are over 50, clinically extremely vulnerable, have an underlying health condition that placed you in priority group 6, or are a frontline health or social care worker, please do book an appointment. I think everybody knows how it's done now, but I'll say it again. Please call 119 or go to the NHS website. It really is that simple. Please get online. Please get jabbed. The difference it's making is absolutely phenomenal, and the statistics bear it out. So please, be like the Prime Minister of France. Get a jab.